All right. Welcome to the Strong Side Podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Black, and today we have a really exciting episode. So one thing that we're trying to do with our podcast is this Strong Side Podcast is made for our Strong Side members. If anybody outside of the gym wants to listen to it, that's totally fine, and I hope a lot of people do, and I hope you share it with your friends and give it a little 5-star, but right now, we're really committed to making this content for you, about you, giving the information that you need. And we thought, hey, what better way than to introduce all of our team members? We'll start with our leadership team. We'll kind of branch out from there, but let's get to know them on a little bit more personal level. So today, we have a very special guest. We have our head coach, Mr. Matt. And we're going to dive into, just in his words, people will get to know why I am the way that I am. So with a drum roll, we have Mr. Matt. How we doing, Mr. Matt?
I'm doing great. It was a solid morning. Can't complain.
Yeah, you guys went outside?
Yeah, went outside. Got a little sunshine on my bald head, you know.
I just learned that Matt shaves and exfoliates his head.
Almost daily. I shave like twice or every 2 weeks. I exfoliate every day. I got to stay young.
So, like, how does that work? So, like, you.
I got a tip. It's from GQ magazine. Yes, sir, GQ magazine. But you take your knuckles and you exfoliate your face with your knuckles, not your hands, because usually your fingers are pretty dirty. So your knuckles usually are cleaner than your hands. So you just take your knuckle and exfoliate your face with it. Do that daily. Once when I wake up and once right before I go to bed.
Huh?
That's a true story.
That's kind of cool. So, talking about exfoliation, one of my clients just told me that you can shave your forehead and it exfoliates your forehead. So I've shaved my forehead 2 times now.
Oh, it's great. It feels good too. It's like have you ever got like a head scratch? It's just like a personal head scratch.
I will tip extra if you cut my hair and give me a scalp massage.
I am not doing that. I'll save that for Kim.
Okay. Yeah, she was making fun of me. She's like, you shave your forehead? I'm like, just touch it.
Just go.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, yeah, man. So let's just talk about you. You know, like, I guess we can talk shop a little bit, but I mean, like, just who are you and what's your background?
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
It's a roller coaster.
Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in San Clemente, California. Lived out there for 16 years. Actually, yeah, 16 years. I actually was born and raised, and I was actually born in the Philippines. My dad was a Navy officer. My mom is fully Thai, and that's how my parents met when my dad was actually stationed in Thailand. And I was then, when my dad moved, he was moved into the Philippines. We lived in the Philippines for a little bit. Then my dad got moved to Egypt. I was super little. I don't remember any of this. We lived in Egypt. We lived in South Africa, and then we moved to California.
How old were you when you lived in Egypt?
I was like a toddler. I was like 1.
So you don't remember like the
I don't
pyramids
remember
or anything?
anything. I got cool stamps on my passport. That's about it.
Wait, the passport, like that literally stays with you your whole life?
Yeah, but I don't use that passport anymore. It's just like my baby passport.
Oh, and then when you get to adulthood, you get
I got a new one.
Oh, okay.
I have it framed. It's in my house.
And then you moved to California.
Yep.
And then you're in Georgia now.
Yeah, so mom and dad kind of got divorced when I was like 16. Super sad day. But the state of California, when they got divorced, I had to choose. So when I had to choose, I chose my mom, thinking, I'll just see my dad on a regular basis, whatever. And 3 months later, mom comes up to me and she's like, hey, we're going to move. And I was like, okay, cool. We're like going to move right down the road. No, we moved to Georgia. And that's how I ended up in Georgia. And I had an aunt that lived out here. We lived with her for like a month while our house was under construction. So yeah, that was super fun.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
All right. And how much family do you have out here?
All my family now, it was like as soon as we moved out here, 3 months later, they moved to Florida, which is why I ultimately chose where I went for college, which was UCF. University of Central Florida, 2017 national champs.
And you played there, right?
Yeah. Played for 2 years.
It was color guard, right?
Yeah. I played color guard. No, I played football for 2 years. I wish I would have played color guard. But playing football explains the way that I am, the way that I coach. But I played there for 2 years. I started probably one game. That was it. Wanted to play more, decided to transfer to Valdosta State, D2 school, 2013 national champs. Don't forget that. And so we won my senior year, we won the national championship. That was my
Valdosta?
At Valdosta, Division II national champs. So after that, I wanted to go into the NFL. So had a pro day, had everything. During my pro day, I actually blew out my knee. And then, my football career was pretty much over after that. And I had to decide what the heck I wanted to do with my life.
What, define blow out your knee. What does that mean?
I tore my ACL completely.
I've done that. It's terrible.
It was great. So, yeah.
So how does that happen? Like,
I just made a cut too hard and knee went one way, I went the other.
So there wasn't any physical contact?
No physical contact.
I know that's annoying.
Yep.
I'm sure you wanted a really cool story.
Yeah, I can't be like, no, someone just hit me really hard. No, I just took a wrong turn. Super fun.
That's still kind of cool though that you got to go to like pro day and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
It was super fun. At the moment I had 3 teams out my pro day, which was really cool. After that, I had to decide. I was also done with college. I just graduated with a business management degree. So I had to decide what the heck I wanted to do. And I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do. I thought my life was going to be football, and that was cut short. So I became a beach bum for 6 months. No one really knows about this.
What? Well, then enlighten us.
This is actually a very dark days of Mount Morgan.
Well, before we get there, going back to pro day, did you have did you get like free sandwiches or anything? They give you like a cool experience?
I mean, they give you a cool T-shirt. That's about it. You get a cool T-shirt and cool cleats. That's about it.
Huh. All right. Okay. And then you were a beach bum.
Yeah, I was a beach bum. Went to live in Outer Banks, North Carolina. Lived there for 6 months.
Doing what?
Me and a dog. I worked in a surf shop and waited tables. That was my life. I surfed and worked in a surf shop.
With a business management degree.
With a business management degree.
Got it.
Because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I didn't want to grow up.
I legit didn't know that.
Yep.
Like, I had no idea.
That's what I did for 6 months. And then I finally decided one day, I was like, I gotta get my life together. And it's actually how I ended up in kind of the North Georgia area. I went to Kennesaw State and decided to go get another bachelor's degree.
In what?
Oh boy, hold on. This is where it gets fun. So I have another bachelor's degree in sports management. Went and studied abroad for a little bit. Actually lived in Spain, did kind of an externship in Spain.
And I just learned this. What's the difference between an internship and an externship?
So it's a little bit more hands-on. Like I was getting paid to do this. Like this, they had every deal of putting me on staff. Like I was in suite sales was what I was doing for the soccer team in Spain. And it was about a month in after I was like decided that like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sign my offer letter, did all that. And then I was just like, I really hate it here. I was like, I love Europe, but I can't do this. I was like, this isn't for me. And so moved back, went back to Kennesaw State, got another bachelor's degree in medical sociology.
What is that?
So it's honestly, I have no idea. It was just the easiest degree to get, and got an internship. This time I got an internship with Northside, and I was actually working in their ethics department. And if you ever heard of the ethics department in hospitals, it's not fun.
I didn't even know they had an.
Yes.
Huh.
It's pretty much, let's say you have a patient who has like a DNR on their record, which is do not resuscitate. The ethics department is the department that ultimately has the final say-so on whether or not this person gets resuscitated or not. So you make a lot of big decisions.
Not only am I learning about your life, I'm just learning about life in this pod. You've said like 8 things that I didn't even know existed.
I was forced. So another reason I chose UCF was at the age of 18, my parents decided to pretty much make me pay rent and go from there and be like, hey, you're 18, you have to pay rent. And I was just like, no, I don't want to do that. So I went to college early. There's a visitor.
Yeah, it's sorry. Yeah, I love when visitors come in during the podcast. How do they not know that we're doing a podcast?
We're closed,
so weird,
guys.
Yeah. Man. Okay, so that's cool.
My life's like a roller coaster. It's been fun.
So then what? When did you start working? So you have like 5 degrees.
I started really working. I was 25. I was 25 when I really, really kind of settled down. And when I say settled down, I got the internship. I quit. The ethics department wasn't for me. I was like, this is way too much. I was like, I can't make these decisions. I was like, I don't want to have someone's life in my hands. But I loved helping people. So I actually started over at Topgolf. When I say I started at Topgolf, I literally started off as the lowest of the low. I was an intern, running coffee, running papers, like making scans, copies, everything. You name it, that was me. Like in the mailroom, you know those movies, how you have like the mail boy? That was me.
So you were like Elf.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, got it.
And did that for like 3 months. After that, they were like, hey, we're going to send you out to, I forgot what venue it was. It was just opening. They were like, hey, you're going to help out. Literally, when I say help out, I was literally constructing like tables and just everything that you see in Topgolf, I was building. So I was helping them build all that. And then finally one day someone came up to me and they were like, hey, do you mind, so-and-so called out, like, do you mind just running this orientation, doing this for us? And I was like, yeah, sure. Sounds easy. And I did it. And they said I did really well. So then they brought me on as like this training. They brought me on as like a training manager at one venue. And this was out in Oklahoma City. So I was a training manager of just that one venue. And I was in charge of training all these people that were being onboarded. From there, I actually then flew out to Houston where the headquarters is. And they're like, hey, we really like what you're doing. We want to actually make you director of training. This is a brand new position. What you'll do is you'll travel around, help open up these facilities, train people, onboard people, get them really ready to do the job. And I was like, oh, that sounds really fun. I mean, being a 26-year-old kid, training people, getting to travel. I mean, I traveled the world when I did this.
That there seems to be a theme here.
I love traveling.
Traveling, internships, helping people.
Yeah.
And building things.
Yep. So I did that. So that was kind of how I started at Topgolf. And I did that till I was, 28. So about 2-3 years I was at Topgolf. 3 years exactly.
And then what happened?
So
I'm like genuinely, I'm listening to the story and I'm like, this is actually, it's captivating to me.
This is actually what I was actually, so I've been doing CrossFit while I was training. While I was doing all this, I would, I was based out of Virginia Beach. And if you guys have ever been to Virginia Beach or ever have a chance to go to Virginia Beach, it is the known area. Like CrossFit is it out there. Like almost every gym out there has someone that is on seminar staff that teaches people how to coach. So I was at a gym that is known for developing coaches. And I was approached being like, hey, you should really go get an L1. And so I went and got an L1 just for, fun, whatever. Didn't have any aspirations as a coach. I did it. And they were like, hey, do you want to, shadow a class? So the program that we have here, the shadowing and all that, like I had been through it. I started out with no experience whatsoever. And I had been doing CrossFit for years. So I knew the stuff. So then I got the L1, did all that, started coaching kind of part-time. Like when I say coaching part-time, I was literally doing like 1 or 2 classes here and there, but there was like 25, 30 people in these classes. Then I was getting ready to go do a comp in Minnesota. I actually took a vacation to go do a comp, which is crazy. So I took a vacation. While I was out on vacation, I was actually on the flight out there, and I got an email while I was boarding, and it was from my boss being like, hey, you need to answer this email, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at the email, and my emails were set to, like, do not disturb, like, hey, this is the person you need to get in contact with. Like, I'm on vacation. I was in Minnesota. I was literally the last day of the comp. I get another email saying, like, hey, when you come back, we're going to need to talk. I'm like, all right, cool. That's fine. Whatever. I didn't think anything of it. Walked in the office on Monday. I had a write-up, and it said that I was insubordinate. I was just like, for what? And they couldn't really explain why I was insubordinate. So that moment, once they did that, I was like, look, I'm done. I was like, here's my 2-week notice. And they're like, wait, really? I was like, yeah. So I gave them my 2-week notice. They couldn't tell me a reason why. And from then on, I had 2 weeks of vacation left, took my 2 weeks of vacation, and this is where the traveling really gets fun. I actually flew out the day I put my 2-week notice, flew out, went to Europe for 3 months, lived out in Europe, and just backpacked.
What?
So that's what I did.
I wasn't expecting to end of that. I had heard every bit of that story all the way till the backpacked in Europe.
That was super fun.
I bet, dude. I had a friend that did that one time, and I just applaud her for it. Like, I was like, that's super cool. Like, way to do that in your life.
Yeah.
Now she's married with kids and stuff, and I'm like, like, that's like way to get that done.
No, yeah.
Cool.
It's like, it was like my biggest, like, I guess on my bucket list to do. I always wanted to travel and just be like a nomad, and I did it.
Huh. I thought that would have been accomplished with the beach bum.
Nope.
But nope. Okay. All right. All right, man. So like I can feel the story. Like I can hear it. There's all this you're just bleeding. Like the story to me is really that you're finding something that makes you fulfilled to help other people.
Yeah.
And when you're not in scenarios where you're getting to help other people or you don't feel like you're being recognized for that help, you start looking for something. Yeah. So you started obviously looking for coaching. So yep. I mean, then what? You go get your L1. You already had your L1?
I already had my L1. So while I was out at the comp, I had started applying for coaching jobs, and which is how I actually started with 1124. I was out there. I literally just Googled. I was like, CrossFit coaching jobs. And they had a post on Google, and that they had just literally, I think it was 2 hours before that, had just posted. So they had a phone number. I called. It was one of the owners, called them. They're like, yeah, we would love, you to come down, try it out. And so once I flew back from Minnesota, it was like fate, because it was Virginia actually had been evacuated for a hurricane. So because we were evacuated for a hurricane, we then flew down to Atlanta, met with the owners of 1124. They were like, oh, okay, like this is what I want you to do, blah, blah, blah. Literally, I got the job. Like 2 days later, they called me like, hey, your references checked out. They actually called every one of my references. So I was actually shocked, because my references called me and were like, hey, just let you know, they called me. Like, we said nothing but good things. So hopefully you get it.
And Top Golf was number 1, right?
Yeah, Top Golf was actually, I put my boss on there because there was no, like, there was no bad blood. Like, I had done everything you asked me to do. Like, they're on there. So yeah.
Huh, that's kind of cool.
So yeah, they're very supportive. Like even to this day, every year they want me to come back, and I'm just like, no, I can't do it. So yeah.
So then what? You start coaching, and like, tell me about like your obsession with it.
Oh man, this is where when I say I was obsessed. So once I got the job over at 1124, so there was a couple delays in the opening of 1124.
Or any gym.
Yeah. It permits everything. So while I was literally waiting to coach there, I decided, I need to keep coaching, because if not, I was literally doing nothing. My job then was, I was just so bored because I can't sit still. I decided I wanted to go do DoorDash. I was literally delivering food for people. While I wasn't doing that, I was coaching at a gym over in Roswell called Hugh Hard Exercise Works, where I was coaching there part-time. So I was doing DoorDash in the middle of the night. I was then doing coaching in the afternoon. I then was waiting for 1124 to open. Once 1124 opened, we had like 6 coaches. I was only coaching like maybe like 3 to 4 classes a day. And so I was working 3 jobs, but I loved what I was doing. Like to this day, like that was like the epitome of like really getting good at my craft, because I was coaching so much. And coaching is a struggle. Like you coach like 6 or 7 classes a day, you're exhausted. And like literally I would go home, eat something, go to bed, and do it all over again. Like that was my life. Like I was dating somebody at the time, and I'm pretty sure she hated me because I didn't talk to her. I was literally coming in, going to bed, like sleeping, eating. All I was doing was coaching. But I knew I wanted to make it a career. So what happened, 1124, we actually had a couple coaches leave as soon as we opened. A couple things happened. They were like, Matt, can you coach more? So I went from coaching like maybe 10, 12 classes to then coaching like 30 in a week. And it just kept on coaching, and I loved it. Like I ate and like literally I would leave, or like while I was waiting, I would literally watch videos on how to coach better. I actually then ended up joining like a mentorship group. I still to this day meet with them on like how to coach, how to get better, how to look for little things. Like I live and breathe this stuff. So yeah.
Dude, that fires me up. That's like to have that here, that energy.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, dude.
So, and then I was promoted. Like when I say every position that I've started in, I always start at the lowest of the low. And that's like, that's how I believe that will keep pushing me to get better and growing. And then which ultimately led me to StrongSide. So yeah.
Man, so like when you talk about like your obsession with coaching, I get this is general population, but I mean, coaching is coaching. I don't care if you're coaching a sports team or whatever. What you're really trying to do is get a like-minded group of people to support each other and want to be better, whether it's to win a game or whether it's to be better at life or lose the 5 pounds. I mean, we all know that's the end objective. It just looks different. It looks like burpees and snatches, or it looks like whatever. But why and how does that fire you up so much? It's amazing that it does.
Yeah. So when I was at Topgolf, I knew there was something missing. Like I always said this, and I said it to my mom, and my mom still to this day, like, will always say this to me, is like, I was training people to get good at a job, right, at Topgolf. And I said it one day, I was like, I want to train people to get good at life. And when I said that, I was like, Mom's like, why don't you look into like, I almost went back and finished nursing school, which is like a whole nother separate thing. I was forced to pick between football and nursing school. I picked football. So I was like, you know what? I do this CrossFit thing, and why don't I just coach? So, because then I'm helping people get better at life. And that's the population that I want to help. I want to help people get better at life. And like, I was competitive. I wanted to still be competitive. I was in a very competitive gym. I've seen how that competitive atmosphere can, hurt a gym. And which was what led me out of where I was to StrongSide.
So, yeah, dude, I just keep going back to it. That's just like that organic passion. Like you need to it has to be bigger than anything.
Yeah.
It has to be bigger than like you're saying. I'm so happy and so proud that you run all of our coaching here, because that's, I know sometimes I suffer at this, but I truly believe this from the bottom of my heart. You need to put really good people in charge and then get out of their way. And that organic love for people, that goes well beyond. You can pay people whatever. You can put a title, whatever, but it's going to burn out, especially if you do both at the same time. Hey, here's a massive promotion with a massive salary. They're usually going to get fizzled out. And what I mean by that is if you don't have that deep blood of I need to help people, and I need to go, I don't care what you're doing. I'm going to build houses, and in between building houses, I'm going to go YouTube how to hammer better. I mean, that's what this is. Yeah. You're saying, I love helping people, and in between helping people, I'm going to go research how I can help people better.
Yeah. So I listen to Gary Vee. If you guys have ever listened to Gary Vee, he's amazing.
I love him.
Yeah. So there's I remember being on that flight when I quit Topgolf. He was like, I don't care how much you get paid. And I was making really, really, as a 25-year-old kid, and I was a kid. I mean, I was living the life of a kid and getting paid $100,000 to party, pretty much. That's pretty much what I was doing. I was wine and dining people, training people, going out every night, very unhealthy lifestyle. But I was very unhappy. And I don't care how much money you throw at a problem. If you're not happy with what you do and you don't have a passion for what you do, nothing. You can't fix that. You have to find your passion, and really, money can't fix that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's just, man, fires me up for the future and you being here, because this is going to be, this common purpose and mission is going to be legit. So you talked a little bit about being led to StrongSide.
Yeah.
What is it about the culture and environment? What do you see here? What's motivating you? Where are our members at? What do you want to do with the future? Where do you want to spearhead this thing to? Why are you happy to be here?
Yeah. So, I will never forget the day that I actually messaged you. I messaged you on Instagram.
Which, by the way, I don't really know how to work, and I was not 100% sure if the message sent back.
Yeah. So, And I actually was talking, so I know Liz Meehan. Liz went to 1124 before she came here. And everything I'd seen, she would post stuff like, I guess you guys had like a March competition. I saw her post, looked super fun. And then I was just sitting in a coffee shop in downtown Marietta. And when I say I was a part of a very competitive gym, that's not the atmosphere that I want. Like, the atmosphere that I want, the competitive side is cool and all. Like, there's a time and place to compete, but that's not getting people better.
Yeah, every day when you're beating your face against a wall because you have to beat somebody.
Yeah, exactly. With the competitive atmosphere, this is the problem with competitors. With competitors, the moment they stop getting better, they'll go somewhere else. Like, they're not loyal.
Yeah, because it's the coach's problem.
Yeah, it's the coach's. Yeah. It's not their problem. It's our problem. And that just wasn't an atmosphere that I wanted to be a part of. So I was literally sitting at Cool Beans in downtown Marietta. I was sitting outside. It was a gorgeous day. And I had literally just messaged Matt Rains. I was like, hey, is the gym that you go to looking for coaches? And he's like, I think so. Message Mitchell, send him an email. So I sent Mitchell my email, or sent him an email, called him, and messaged him on Instagram within the span of like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I did all three of those things. I think it was like 2 or 3 hours later. I think you had to coach all morning. I think it was like 1 o'clock. You messaged me back and we started talking. And I think later on that afternoon, I came out and took a class. Actually, it was like a 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock class, whatever it was.
Yeah. It was the last 2 classes.
It was the last 2 classes I took, and I took the class, and literally I walked in, and just the moment you walk in and everyone talking to you, I was like, whoa. I was like, that was a game changer for me, because the atmosphere and that like community was felt immediately. Like, I wasn't walking in, sitting in the corner being like, wow, no one's going to talk to me. I was like, this is awkward. Like, I didn't have to force talk to anybody. Like, usually I'm a kind of an introvert, but I'm not at the same time. Like, if I'm in a building, I'll talk to you. But if I'm at like a comfort place, like my home, I won't talk to anybody. I'm super awkward.
Yeah, it's I'm the same way. It's an introvert that's trained to be an extrovert.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. I'll talk, like if I'm out and about, I'll talk to a wall. But if I'm in my home or like a place of comfort, like for me, I won't talk to you. Huh. I'm just weird.
No, I get it. So you come on board, and then it's like, what are some takeaways? What have you learned? What's the neat things being involved in this? I mean, I know I'm a little biased, but I think we have a really good culture and what we do.
Oh yeah. Like, the culture here is really, really, like, it's amazing. And the cool thing is too, is like, for me, I felt like my coaching has gotten better. Like, I felt like I'm getting to really know people more on a personal level. Like, I'm really deep diving into those things. And like, as I grow as a coach, and like, I'm not going to say I'm the best coach in the room. I'm always going to want to get better. And that's the mentality I want for all coaches. I don't want a single person to walk in here and being like, I am the man, right? I want you to be confident, but I don't want you to be like, I know everything. You're not going to teach me anything. No, we can teach you something. We can teach each other something. And that's what I want the coaching team to work as, is we are a team. Because if I'm not getting better, we're not getting better. So that's the kind of atmosphere I want to grow, is everyone constantly getting better every day. So like, even for me getting to know the members here, it's going past that one question, not just being like, hey, how's your day? Like, I need to deep dive even further. Like, hey, how's your day? It's been pretty rough. Like, oh, what's going on? Like, go
peeling the onion.
Yeah, exactly. I need to go one question deeper. Like, I really want to know what these people do, like what they do for a living, like what really gets their motor going, like what gets you going. I want to know that. And that's what I want for all coaches and everyone on the team.
Yeah, I think we can both really agree that the most dangerous coach is the one who knows everything.
Yeah.
And the best coach is the one who says, I know nothing.
Yep.
And it takes a long time to get to, I actually have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get a little bit better every day.
Exactly.
I want to go find my first 5 clients and apologize.
Yeah. Oh man, if I could go back and my first ever class I ever taught, I would be like, I'm sorry. But I learned a lot from that moment.
Yeah, that's a big focus. I guess we can segue into this a little bit about like our coaching onboarding and stuff. That's really what it is. When people hear, oh, I got to go through this, whatever you want to call it, orientation, onboarding, whatever. A lot of times people think that it's, hey, okay, when Sally is doing a kettlebell swing and her back rounds, well, I mean, maybe a little bit, but we kind of expect you to be a professional and you kind of know that. It's more of the stage presence and the organization and the commanding the room and the humility and the constant growth and how you're going to organize these people to stay entertained and happy and energized and the cultivating environment that we're trying to create. So where do you want to get where do you want to get your coaching team to? Like if we did this, and this, like what are your projects?
So one of the things that we're going to do is like during the onboarding, it's a long process. It's not just like 2 or 3 days and they're onboarded. No, it's like weeks and weeks and weeks. Like they're never, ever going to be 100%. And like I always tell people, and this is one of the biggest things I took away from Topgolf is like, you're never perfect. Like I want these people to always be pursuing to get better every day when they come in. So a little projects we're going to do is, coaches are going to, constantly be getting feedback, either on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis. Once they've been here long enough, it would happen on a quarterly basis. Then it will happen, their yearly checkups to see how they're doing. They'll be put on improvement plans, stuff like that, just so they're constantly getting better because we want to make this a career for people. And the moment you don't let people grow is the moment they leave. It's like what I think Ashley said. She's like the tree, but I'm like the water for the tree. I need to let people grow.
Yeah, she's the roots.
I'm just the water.
StrongSide's a tree. You're the water. She's the roots.
Circle of life.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be working on your craft all the time.
Yeah.
And for us, it's so much, I can't say that word enough, stage presence. I mean, we talk a lot about with our coaches that coaching is really 20% of what they actually do. Mm-hmm. The other 80% is building an environment to where when you drop the critical knowledge that they actually listen.
You're like, whoa.
And that is very, very hard to do because, we get so obsessed with how much we know, but people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah. You got to care. You got to care about Jane and Sally and like how their day is going and whatnot. Because if you don't care, they're not going to listen.
And it has to be genuine. And you got to find these people. They have to genuinely care.
Oh, yeah. You have to earn their respect. Like, I remember my first day here, I was so nervous. I was like trying to correct people. And I could tell they were kind of hesitant. They were like, oh, who is this guy? I don't really trust him. Now I can be like, hey, like listen. And they're like, oh, okay, I'll do that. And they fix it. And I'm like, yes. Because I knew I won their trust once I can see it in their eyes. Psychology.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like that's when you talk about like the 2 more gyms we're going to open and stuff like that. And people are like, how are you going to replicate it? We got to understand what makes StrongSide different. What makes StrongSide different is the culture and the coaching. And we have to be able to articulate that and train that and write it down and be able to say, look, Matt's able to provide this experience because he makes decisions in this order and he understands how to do this. This is the StrongSide way. Yeah. And we're going to be able to do that with a bunch of other coaches.
Yeah. And like the experience you're going to get, it's going to be fun. It's going to be airy. It's going to be something that it's going to be the best hour of your day. And I want it to go beyond that best hour of their day. And there's people that hang out here for hours and like, this is like their second home. This is their escape. And I want them to be able to talk to a coach about whatever the heck is going on in their lives. And like, I don't want you to show up to my class and then show up to Joe Schmo's class who's teaching another class in the afternoon and be like, wow, that class sucked. No, I want Joe Schmo's class to be amazing as well. I want Joe Schmo to care about you as well.
Yeah, dude. Well, look, man, I'm fired up that you're here. That is a great story. I think we're going to be able to do some great things at StrongSide. And thanks for hopping on the podcast.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to hear the rest of these.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. So as I said in the beginning, remember, this podcast, we're doing it with the intent for our members. So that does not mean that anybody who's not a member can't listen. Absolutely, you can listen. I'm just saying we want to hear back from you because we want to provide content for you. So we're going to be going through, I think Ashley's up next. We're going to go through all of our management team, our leadership team first, and then we'll start going into like coaches and stuff like that. There is going to be a segment where everybody gets to sit down and drill me with questions. And I said I'll answer whatever. So it'll just be a big old panel and you'll get to know me. But that's the whole point. We just love you. We want to interact with you. We want to get content to you however you want. So I hope you have a great day.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening to this.
And by the way, my mom listens to this. So, hey, Mom.
Wow,
Bye,
that's
Mom.
so cool.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.